In my previous video, I wanted to examine the text in column B to locate the prices and sum them. I solved that problem using Power Query, and you can watch that video, link in the video description, or you can click the little thing in the upper right corner if it pops up. But it got me to thinking, how could I solve this problem without Power Query? In other words, solve it using just normal Excel functions. And it turned out this is actually quite simple, provided we use the newer dynamic array functions. To solve this problem, we're going to use 4 functions: the TEXTSPLIT, TEXTAFTER, NUMBERVALUE, and SUM functions. Be sure to download this file from the link in the video description so you can follow along, or just go straight to the solution sheet and examine the finished formula. I'm going to do this off to the side of the table just so we can see the intermittent step results. Let's begin just by isolating everything after each semicolon, because in this text, the semicolon indicates the end of purchase information. So we'll start with equals, and we'll do a text split. I'm going to point to cell B4, comma, and I want to split this into separate columns. And the delimiter I'm going to use is a semicolon. Close parentheses, enter. Because there are 3 purchase entries in this cell, each one of those goes into a separate cell, which makes it very difficult to read. So just so we can fully understand what was created, I'm going to go back into the formula, and for that column delimiter, I'm not going to enter any value, so I'm just going to place another comma as a placeholder. So now the semicolon says split it into rows instead of columns. And when I hit enter, we can see the 3 purchase entries. You're never going to see this in the final formula, so it doesn't matter which way you do this. I'm only doing it this way so it's a little easier to see exactly what was split. All we need to do now is extract all of the data after the dollar signs. So if we go back into the original formula, and we'll wrap this in a TEXTAFTER function. The text we're getting after is everything produced by the TEXTSPLIT function, comma, and the delimiter will be the dollar sign. Close parentheses, enter, and now we have the 3 values. Now just for the sake of understanding, if I went back in the TEXTSPLIT function and took out that padded comma delimiter variable and actually used the comma delimiter variable like we did originally, now the numbers just go into columns. We can't directly sum these values up because they're not values, they're text. And just to prove this, if I were to wrap this in a sum function, we just get a 0. So I'll hit undo. We need to wrap this in a NUMBERVALUE function, and that will convert these text-based numbers into actual numbers. Now we can take these and sum them. So here's the Excel formula using dynamic array functions to perform what I did earlier in Power Query. Let me copy that. I'll put it in my table, and now I have my extracted total sales. The benefit of doing this with dynamic array functions is you no longer have to refresh the data. So if I were to go in here, add some zeros, automatic update. Take some zeros away, automatic update. So let me know your thoughts. Do you prefer to do this in Power Query? Do you prefer to do this with dynamic array functions? When I was thinking about this formula, I actually experimented with about 4 different ways of solving this problem, but this is the one I settled on. It was the best of what I came up with. But if you've got another way to do it, put that down in the comments. If you can make this shorter, leaner, meaner, I'd love to see it. Thank you for watching, and remember at BCTI, the learning never stops.